Welcome back, guys. This is my weekly video of the Mount Rushmore of WWE and a specific category. So I've been getting a lot of hate for certain opinions about certain wrestlers. So today let's shed some positive light on one of those wrestlers, and we'll get to that later in this video. So today is it's the Mount Rushmore of WWE. The 4 most important figures in WWE history, in my opinion. This is not my personal thoughts on them. This is just who I think is the most important in WWE history. Let's start off with, now first thing, WWE always had this thing about there's got to be the guy, the one person who is running the company as either a babyface or a heel, usually a babyface, the top face of the company. I don't know why it can't be multiple people. At the moment they're shifting more towards multiple people, but for the longest time, from early 80s all the way through to, I would say very recently still, somebody had to be the guy. And this person was probably the guy for the longest period of time. It's John Cena. John Cena took the ball and ran with it once he could freestyle rap, became the rapper character, became then the corporate champion slash merchandise machine slash make-a-wish machine slash just everything. John Cena, he's not on my personal top favorite, but I have to respect the work he's done. His ability to sell tickets, his ability to just be there night in, night out, obviously not anymore because he's now close to retirement, as we all know. His ability to be there night in, night out. He ran the company as top face for multiple years. More than a decade, he was the top face of the company. And then he just put just a little bit extra in, turned heel, and became the top heel in the company. John Cena, I have to respect everything he's done up to this point in his career. Next, we have to speak about, this is the guy I was speaking about earlier. Personally, I'm not a fan at all, but he's incredibly important. This is the guy I spoke about in the intro that I've been getting some comments, people saying how casual I am. It's my opinion. I'm not a fan, but I do respect what he's done in the business. It is Hulk Hogan. So, WWE, Vince McMahon specifically, gambled everything on the success of WrestleMania. If WrestleMania 1 was not a success, the company would have probably folded because he put everything into that. And would it have been as successful without the pull of Hulk Hogan? I don't know. Hulk Hogan was not just the face of WWE. He was a cultural icon. He was everywhere. Talk shows, cereal boxes, movies, TV. He was just everywhere. Everybody wanted to be him. Everybody wanted to be with him. Everybody wanted to be friends with him. When I was a child, I watched wrestling. I started watching wrestling in 1992, and I have watched all this stuff. And probably a little bit more cynical, but I was never a Hogan fan. I usually rooted for the other guy. I don't know what that says about me, but I was never a Hogan fan. But I cannot discredit what he's done for the wrestling industry as a whole, how important he is for the success of WWE. Next, we've got Stone Cold Steve Austin, my personal GOAT. Now, WWE was in a very difficult time, 1994 through 1997. Because they were getting absolutely whooped by WCW and they just didn't have star power. So a little known guy by the name of the Ringmaster told Vince McMahon, I'm not this guy, I'm not the Ringmaster. And Vince McMahon's like, what do you want to do? And he said, I've got a plan. And he ran with it. And then obviously King of the Ring 1996, Austin 316, the very next night on Raw, even though Austin was still a heel at the time, there were Austin 316 posters the very next night on Raw. He didn't turn babyface immediately. He eventually turned when it came to WrestleMania 13, that whole sharpshooter thing. He turned babyface and they put the rocket on his back and they absolutely shot him into the stratosphere. Would WWE have beaten WCW in the Monday Night Wars if it was not for Stone Cold? I don't know, but I think it would have been a lot closer than it ultimately was because he was the blue-collar hero. He was the guy everybody wanted to be, that flipped their boss off, stunned at their boss. Everybody wanted to be this guy. He's more important than you can ever imagine. And then lastly, you would have none of this. Now, personal things, everything he's done in his personal life, I'm going to shove that aside to the one side and not think about that at all. This is purely about wrestling. It's Vince McMahon. Bought the company from his dad and he expanded it to a national company instead of a regional company, which upset a lot of regional promoters, but he did it and he was successful at it. Again, like I've already said, he had this notion that there had to be the guy, and he had a couple of them, and ultimately he had Hulk Hogan, and the two of them together pushed it into the national stratosphere. WrestleMania, all of those things happened. And then we spoke about Austin already. Now, Austin needed a bad guy for him to bounce off of. And who better than the evil boss character, Vince McMahon? Without Vince McMahon, WWE, like it does today, doesn't exist. Without Vince McMahon, wrestling like it is today probably doesn't exist. It might still be. I have no idea what would have happened. We can speak about hypotheticals all we want, but there's every possibility it might still be a regional base, that you've got the Texas territory, you've got this territory, you've got this territory. It might still be that. We have no idea what would have happened, what could have happened, we have no idea. But all I know is Vince McMahon is sitting right at the tippy top of the Mount Rushmore of WWE. Who would your four be? How much do you disagree with me? Until next time, peace.